You're watching the Eternal Tournament Series.
Hey guys, welcome back. We are here in the final round, Unearthly versus Visarius, the matchup of Feln Midrange, Feln Spymaster versus Rhino Plate, Rhino Oathbook. Fun times, and I'm joined here by Sir Rhino.
Yeah, we're still having fun. We've got the finals here, and a little more aggression than last week's finals. Instead of a little control mirror, we've got some aggro mid-range action. Should be the action should be fast and furious, I would.
Pretty quick, rapid game, and if Unearthly wins this, he will be the first person to take 2 tournaments in the course of a single season.
Yeah, that would be quite the accomplishment. So he's playing for that. But again, I think both players will be pretty happy just making the finals here. It means they're already qualified for the next invitational. So good stuff there. I mean, at this point, Unearthly's just rubbing it in against everybody else. He's like, look, play Rakano. What are you doing? It's been the best deck forever. Stop complaining that the sky is falling about Combre and other stuff. Torch is as good as it ever was. So it looks like the players are getting ready to throw down here.
Yeah. Challenge is laid down. We're gonna see that game in just a second here.
Yeah. So this matchup, I'm gonna go on a limb and say Unearthly's favored in, especially looking at like the sideboard options. Visarius doesn't have really any extra move to bring in, which is awkward. And we already saw this match earlier today, actually, and I believe Unearthly took that as well because Unearthly hasn't lost in this tournament. Hey, logic.
Yeah, Visarius has one of the best early hands against Rakano that I've seen in a while. It's 3 Argenport Instigators, all of which are very, very good blockers, and Permafrost. And that doesn't answer Champion of Glory, but it answers everything else.
Yeah, and Unearthly happens to have a double Champion of Glory hand. Unearthly had to play, didn't have the turn 1 play, but gets to go Oni Ronin a turn late with Torch backup anyways. So I think he can live with that. And yeah, Visarius he's got to be happy with his hand, but the way it lines up against Unearthly is actually be a real problem.
Yep, we see the first Torch gets hit pretty hard. Like Torch versus Instigators, never a fun time. And now Visarius is looking at a second Instigator into a Permafrost on Ronin, which doesn't really secure a lot for him, but does mean that he's actually in a slightly more defensive state.
Yeah, at least once you get another Instigator out, you can threaten to double block one of these Champions of Glory or something, but it's just not a great spot to be in. If you're Visarius, you're going to have to find something nicer to turn this one around in your favor.
And the real risk, of course, is if you double block and end up getting hit by a Torch. Visarius is actually aiming instead to be really aggressive here. He's going to mirror image the Instigators, which, that's bold.
That's really risky, especially since you attack with that other Instigator. So you're like, oh, I'm going to play around Torch, and then you immediately use mirror image that gets blown out by Torch. But I understand wanting to get the mirror image.
Third Instigator here, followed by a Permafrost. Visarius now pushing 6 a turn, plus whoever gets a removal spell just gets a bonus 3 damage.
Yeah.
I think that's looking pretty decent. Visarius could try to block and like actually defend against these Champion of Glories.
Yeah,
but
you can triple block.
Yeah.
And then even then Torch doesn't get you. You do take 6 but yeah, Unearthly decides to keep both units in play. Doesn't even have a Torch, so
down and can discard the Howling Gales to get some sort of like time or Death Strike situation. Mirror Image, not a card Visarius is really looking for at this point. He's really looking for removal.
Well, Crystallize is awful. He was really hoping to find Feeding Time or at least a Spymaster there, and instead gets a Crystallize. Of course, Unearthly has a Protect, so.
And it's worse because you can't really discard Crystallize without getting Scouting Party, which unfortunately he's also drawn. Visarius is stalling Unearthly out, so that's working out in his favor, but he needs power, and he's not picking it up. Whispering Wind's not helping him out there.
Yeah, Whispering Wind can't find you power. It helps when you've got too much power, but when you're looking for power, Whispering Wind is not your friend. And all right, Unearthly's finally deciding to crack in as an outlaw for back. Sarius will do the triple block and take 6 here.
Yep, that's a lot of damage to be taking. It does mean that there's no longer a good option for Unearthly as far as like there aren't that many ways that he can approach this, but
Yeah.
overall the 3 damage is not as meaningful.
Yeah, Unearthly recognizing that if this game does continue, Visarius has some number of expensive spells in hand that are probably going to end the game. So Unearthly trying to remedy that by ending the game before that happens. Visarius does find the 4/4 that can block on this board, and now it's up to Unearthly to find something to buff his.
Yeah, we're in an interesting situation.
Well, he also has a Vanquish.
Any number of cards. Yeah, a Vanquish definitely hurts. That means that he can push for another 3, 4, 5 damage.
Yeah, that's 2 just from the triggers, and then
and that's total lethal. Yeah,
that'll get the concession here.
Investigators really hurt Visarius. It helped him to actually create a defensive board, but yeah, he was stuck on those double blues from Midnight Gales the entire game, and that just created problems.
Yeah, Midnight Gale might be pushed for its cost, but it is a difficult cost to hit with that double primal influence requirement, and certainly reared its ugly head there.
Yep, we have Feln Banner Primal Seek Power for Visarius, so he's got a good bit of opening power. He's not going to have issues with power this time, but he also doesn't have anything to play against the early game. Suffocating Permafrost. Yeah,
Visarius has the good early removal. I would think about using Permafrost here instead of playing that depleted power, and yeah, there it goes. So here you're hoping, Permafrost this turn, they play another threat the next turn, you suffocate that, and then somehow figure out a way to win this game. So
yeah, and you really want to suffocate those champions when you can get them, because they're hard to kill by other means. From here, Visarius is setting up pretty well. He gets the 4 drops eventually. The scouting parties with infinite infiltrates are cute, but not amazing against Rakano.
The amulet with infinite infiltrates, the real strong card. Of course, Unearthly's got the unlimited flyers installment plan here, which getting unlimited 5/5s might not be that good against. Could even silence his own 2/1 here just to get a 3/2 rolling. It's either that or get the 1/1 going. It's an interesting decision to make here. I think I like getting aggressive on it.
Yeah, it's a tough call. He goes for the Enforcer onto the Ronin, and that means that he now can be aggressive and start pushing in with some bigger units. Force Visarius to be on the back foot.
Yeah, Visarius is in trouble now. A third 4-drop is not what he wants to see here, and this Oni Ronin's going to start getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it looks like Unearthly basically, as long as he has some sort of answer to a 4-drop, he can continue to push each turn and just do excessive amount of damage. You can play down Cabal Spymaster here, and in a situation where your opponent leaves no blockers,
so he can go Scepter to get his Ronin out of Spymaster block range, or he can just go in on the hard to interact with floor.
Yeah, Scepter is pretty awful too, just because it means that he has so many chump blockers against the Beller's Amulet.
Okay. And Unearthly opts to go with the Scepter on the flyer and then buff the flyer. Could have also gone Scepter on the flyer and still attack with the Oni Ronin and off trade.
Now sorry, it's offering a trade. I'm not sure if Unearthly's going to take it. He's at 29. He doesn't really need it.
Well, there it is.
Cabal Spymaster.
Yeah, the effect of Spymaster maybe making Unearthly think, that's some sort of shenanigans involving that is how I lose this game. I'm only attacking with my flyer for now anyways. I'm okay with trading off this unit.
Yep. We see a Midnight Gale. Visarius is conceding, and that'll be game 2.
Yep, Midnight Gale not going to answer that 5/4 flyers. It's about to become a 6/5 flyer. And so that is game 2. Unearthly's up 2-0. And as I said, Visarius is in trouble here. He doesn't really have a lot of great options in his sideboard. He's got a Black Sky Harbinger and some Lightning Storms.
That's, yeah, you mean for that double champion badge, I think?
Yeah. Like, it looks like he's trying to bring in some Cabal counters just to have some other early plays that he can possibly get in there, but it's not pretty. He's really wishing he had some more Suffocates or something along those lines to help him out. But I'll just have to settle with the 2 he's already got. And looks like the challenge is out. Again, these players already played against each other earlier, so they had their sideboards from those matches ready to go. So let's see if Visarius can have some luck on his side and make this matchup a bit tighter.
We have a much better hand for Visarius here. He does get to play down his Midnight Gale. He doesn't have any early interaction, so that means that he can get run over pretty quickly.
Yeah.
If he can stick the Midnight Gale, that's the key thing. But
yeah,
and Torch make that unlikely.
Yeah, Visarius is not happy to see this hand, but at least Unearthly doesn't have a super explosive draw, especially considering Unearthly's on the play. But
Unearthly does have a Torch, and Torch is really all that he needs.
Yep.
At this point, Overseer plus Glory means that this game may be close to over. Midnight Gale gets to play out. It gets torched immediately.
Oh, yeah.
And then from there, we have 5 damage pushed by Unearthly along with any sort of weapons. But the only one that's really worth noting is Elder's Feather.
Yeah, Unearthly just going to dump his hand here. Maybe. No, he's going to save the Enforcer to take out a Flyer just in case it happens. But that does mean this feeding time line of play buys Visarius a lot more time. Of course, Unearthly finds a weapon.
It's actually a decent setup. Shogun Scepter does mean that he's in trouble again, but
man, that might be the best draw.
Slowly closer
for Unearthly there, that Shogun Scepter. And the Varus Favor does get to take out this unit, and then he gets to play the Countess here. So some counter pressure, but is not winning this race at this point.
He has a good answer. He has the ability to play more stuff. He really just needs to get that 5/5 flying champion, but he's so far behind at this point.
Yeah, I think he also opted to play a Shadow Source last turn rather than a Source, so that's rough. And this is activating that.
You just attack with this. There's no reason not to. Aura's Favor gets you an extra point of health, which might actually be meaningful. And from there, he has to find blue.
Yeah, this is not looking good for Visarius. Maybe something like a Black Sky Harbinger is lurking in his deck that can turn this game around for him here. Of course, in the meantime, Unearthly still getting these Warcry triggers. Unearthly debating on how much information he wants to show here. If he plays the seed, it lets him know that he has a sigil. I don't think Visarius cares about that. The feeding time can
a possibility. Feeding time, buys him no time. But that is
So Unearthly getting the quick 3-0 here in the finals and just dominating the field, not dropping a match all day. I think dropped like one game in the entire top 8. Just put it on an absolute clinic with his Rakano deck focused more on Flyers in this current meta. That's the Flyers as we've seen here. So great job to Unearthly and great job to every competitor out there. They all played great, put on a good show, and came out with some sweet decks.
Yeah, congratulations to Unearthly, our double champion for season 3. Yeah, good times. Really glad to see such a good performance from a kind of unique Rakano deck. Always nice to see Unearthly bring some sort of weird spin on Rakano, and this time around it was Oath Books that ended up being really effective against the current setup of meta, and went very, very well for him. Visarius fought bravely and has earned himself an invite to the Invitational as a result. Unfortunately, has had some power issues early on in the first games and just never really had the cards to answer what Unearthly was putting down. That should about do it for us, folks. We're going to toss it over to Rekenner in a moment. And he's going to talk to you a little bit about what's going on with the aReNGee Eternal streams.
Hello, everyone. This is Rekenner, your tournament organizer. First, I'd like to congratulate both Visarius and Unearthly for making it to the finals, and as Pojo said, guaranteeing their place in the Invitational at the end of the season. And a special congratulations to Unearthly for taking the win. I'd like to toss out a stat real quick. Unearthly is now 21-3 on this season, putting him at a win rate of 87.5% on the dot, I believe it is, which is absolutely insane. He's had two perfect runs. He had a perfect run in the first event of the season and a perfect run through this event. He's had, so that's 2-9 wins, and then he only went 3-3 in another event, going even. How terrible. But yeah, Unearthly is definitely showing himself off as one of the premier, if not the premier player of this game. I'd also like to give a special shout out to aReNGee, the founder of aReNGee Eternal. I'd also like to thank Miller Tool, our producer. Without him, we literally could not do this. And an unfortunate apology to everyone for the stream being a bit choppy in the early part of the stream. We seem to have figured out the way to prevent that. Hopefully we can be stable for next week's broadcast. And also like to thank our graphics and code contributors. And a special thanks to our $20 Patreon backers. Chuck Hurst, Sean Kim, Mark, aka Chibi Kawaii, aka Wubburgers, Ezzy, Greg Rouse, Emery, and Chris Kearns. Greg Rouse, Emily, sorry. And you can find our Patreon at www.patreon.com/RNGEternal with details of our goals for what we will be doing with the backer money, as well as what we've already accomplished. And finally, a thanks to our casters, Sir Rhino and LocoPojo. Sir Rhino, will you tell us about your stream?
Yeah, sure. I'm Sir Rhino. I am supposed to stream Eternal basically every day of the week. This past week I didn't get to because Comcast is, the worst thing in the universe. But my internet seems to be fixed now. It was good today, and it should be good going forward. So looking forward to getting back on this stream run this upcoming week. I normally stream during the day Eastern time, so 1 to 7 is generally what I'm on. We draft, we play Constructed, we talk about everything about card games and just have a lot of fun. So recommend checking it out if you like my commentary today, or if you hated it and you want to show up and hate on me, go ahead. I'll take the view.
Thank you, Rhino. And Pojo, will you tell us about your stream?
Yeah, sure. My stream is Twitch TV/LocoPojo. We do silly brews. We do a lot of drafting. We do occasionally some competitive meta stuff. Not terribly often, but every now and then. And I'm also doing card breakdowns. And occasionally we do a deck doctor stream as a bonus, where we will invite people to submit their decks and play them on stream. And it's just a delightful time. I stream Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. PST with Wednesdays off. I also stream bonus streams pretty much in the afternoons on Saturdays and Sundays, whenever I have the time and the ability to do so. So if you want to go ahead and look for those, you can go ahead and send me a follow. I'd certainly appreciate it.
And finally, a thanks to all of our viewers and all of our players. It's great putting these events on every week, and everyone, have a good night.
Cheers.
Yep. Have a good evening, everyone.